All right, make sure you go to coptalklive.org where you can get daily updates on news and police information, like the 4 female chiefs of police who are destroying America, the absolutely insane and probably will not be held accountable Texas officer who pointed a gun at her sister's boyfriend for a cell phone, and much more. coptalklive.org. All right, let's take a look at this one together. Told you all was right. Told you all I was right. If you've seen anything lately, you've seen that I've criticized openly Officer Brandon Tatum, who I think I can't hate him, right? I can't hate him because he's playing the game. And the game is everybody's got an opportunity. Whether or not you're good at it, you're good at it. I don't know his service as a police officer. I've been told from people stuff, but people talk shit about my service. I've got more legitimate police experience than Brandon Tatum. It is what it is. But, you know, whatever the case is. He is, in my opinion, the token black law enforcement operative for the conservative party. Now, don't think that means I'm a liberal. I think both sides are absolutely screwed. I'm apolitical, and I can't stand either side of it all. But he's making a name for himself. Awesome. What I have a problem with is he just can't shut the fuck up when he needs to. And what he can't condemn is bad law enforcement. And he found a good niche right now in completely insulting the black community all the time and never holding bad cops accountable. It's just he's being used by conservatives, is what it is. Now, getting all that out of the way, that's personal opinion, right? I'm going to do exactly what he suggested when he tried to debunk Lackluster's critique of him, and I'm going to suspend my personal belief and my emotions. If you heard it before, I'll say it all the time. Tatum, without even knowing me, many years ago, took some of my content, put it up on his, and said that I'm the problem in law enforcement and I'm a racist. So he completely has a bias against me. I have a bias against him, but I have to be fair when I do these breakdowns. I have to be legitimate when I do these breakdowns, and I have to sit there and call a spade and not bring any personal emotion into this. I want to take a look. This is Tatum's viewpoint on the William McNeel non-charges being not brought. And he was right, and all of us lowly, uneducated people were wrong. So we need to take a look and listen to what he has to say. We're going to watch this together.
This morning, a Jacksonville, Florida sheriff's deputy seen striking this driver in the face during an arrest will not face criminal charges.
Exit the vehicle now! Exit the vehicle!
If it wasn't for race hustling thugs that wanted to make money and sue the police department to put money in his pocket, although he was wrong on the traffic stop. Hey, y'all, hold on real quick. I got to tell you this. I bet you $1 million y'all didn't know this.
I got to skip this if this is his ad. Okay, and boom.
Come on, baby. I want to talk about the case of McNeel, and I don't want to say I told you so because there is no...
Now, first, if you didn't see my debunking of him, I'll put the link in the description. Brandon Tatum was wrong on everything when he went to debunk or try to debunk Lackluster. His terminology was off. He stumbled over his words. He couldn't even get like probable cause correct. And a lot of the things he was talking about was subjective. My view, based on the totality of the circumstances, is it was an illegal traffic stop. It was not raining. It didn't fit the definition of inclement weather. And many of you on Facebook Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, you have shown me that there is no statute apparently in Florida for inclement weather. So it's a subjective stop, and it was not a lawful stop. If that is true, which I believe it to be, everything after is a Fourth Amendment violation on a federal level. Everything. It wasn't raining. We looked at it. There was drops of water, pooled water. There was no running water. Nobody was shielding themselves. You didn't see the squad cars with their windshield wipers on, their headlights on. It was an unlawful traffic stop. And what we have to stop doing in law enforcement is stretching the literal fuck out of every single possible law just to make everything else happen. Because we do that. Right? We do that. And when I talk about bad law enforcement, I will lump myself in with you guys. When it talks to good, I'm not a cop anymore. I want you guys to get the credit. But I'll accept responsibility for what goes on in the law enforcement community if I want to improve it. That being said, you guys will take And then one of the most infamous ones ever is the obstructed windshield statute that exists in most vehicle codes, right? And what was the most infamous one? We pulled people over. I pulled people over for it all the fucking time. The pine tree air freshener dangling from the rearview mirror. It got to be in Illinois where judges were throwing it out left and right going, this is completely unacceptable. That's an instance where we stretch the very fabric of what the law is to make it fit the pretext of a crime, right? It's a pretext stop, which in my view too, there's some certain things we really need to look at. We need to look at pretextual crime or traffic stops, and we need to do one of two things. Either eliminate them or have the government flat out say, yeah, we are looking to create more shit out of this stop, so we're going to pull you over. We're going to borderline abuse your constitutional rights, seize you with every authority we have just to say that we're not going to lie about it anymore. Oh, no, the reason I stopped is for this, and I just happened to find, a weapon of mass destruction in your car. Or the second thing is, get rid of them. Just get rid of them. We have to start looking at that. And the other thing, too, is, and especially in the case of what this McNeel stop is we have to stop lying. Cops have the legal authority to beat the shit out of you without consequence, all the way up to killing you. I don't know why we just can't say that. Police officers have the lawful authority to beat the shit out of you and kill you without any recourse or responsibility whatsoever. It's time we acknowledge this shit and move forward.
Real, I told you so in this matter. He was legally pulled over. He was legally struck in a car. He was legally arrested. And he pled guilty. He was legally what in the car? He was legally pulled over. No, in my opinion, he wasn't. Well, let's see. I don't want to say I told you so.
Yeah, you do.
Because there is no real I told you so.
That's why you put this in the title, Brandon. Come on, don't be a hypocrite jagoff.
So in this matter,
okay.
He was legally pulled over.
No, he was not. If anybody with their right fucking mind looks at all that stop, it was a 100% illegal traffic stop. Why is it so fucking wrong to say this? It was not raining. Windshield or headlights did not require to be on. It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was a illegal traffic stop, and everybody dying on the hill because they want that thin blue line to be right. You are why cops are hated in America, including all you are cops who are sitting there and going, it was lawful. It was lawful. No, it's time to start saying we fucked up. We fucked up. So no, it was an illegal traffic stop.
He was legally struck in a car.
Legally struck in the car? What does that mean? Legally struck in the car. Oh, you with the hit? No, because if we're going to go fruit of the poisonous tree, everything afterwards, no. And again, that use of force was 100% unjustified. It's so damn easy to say we fucked up. Well, let's continue.
He was legally arrested and he pled guilty. This wouldn't be a topic.
I don't want to pause so much. I know you guys hate it when I do this. He pled guilty because that's what people do all the time. They always do it. How it happens is the courts sit there and they pressure the shit out of people because they've got the funds and you don't. And you get the shitty defense attorney, public defender, and says, hey, yeah, listen, plea, because if you take this to court, I can't guarantee you're going to win. And then you're looking at a year in jail or 2 years in jail maximum and $2,500 in fine. Or I can get you where it's, if you plead guilty, it'll be 6 months probation. What they never talk about is the plea deal. Well, he pled guilty because that was the easier thing to do of somebody who was facing the stress of how fucked up our legal system is. What would you do? You have no money whatsoever. Look at McNeel. McNeel's driving a piece of shit fucking beater. You think he's got money for a lawyer? Got money for a lawyer. So when it comes down to, hey, here's your options. You can go to trial. You might lose this. And it is a maximum of 2 years in prison, not federal prison, and a $2,500 fine. Or if you plead to this, we're going to recommend it 6 months or a year probation. As long as you do nothing else, you'll be fine. What do you think is going to happen? 90% of people plus plead.
If it wasn't for race hustling thugs that wanted to make money and sue the police department to put money in his pocket, although he was wrong on a traffic stop.
Coming from the man who insults the black community on almost every fucking video. Married to a white woman. You can't, Brandon, just say you hate black people. We get it.
According to the news that broke yesterday, the investigation into whether or not McNeel was pulled over properly, when people were arguing with Brandon Tatum saying, Brandon, it wasn't raining at the time of the stop. Well, he also didn't have a seatbelt on. He also was driving on a suspended driver.
Look what he does. This is it, right? He knows he's full of shit on the initial part of the traffic stop. And again, I don't want to rehash this whole stop, but if he's going to keep beating a dead horse, that's fine. The cop couldn't see the amount of occupants that were in the vehicle. We had that on the stop. The windows were tinted. He was not able to tell whether or not the driver was wearing a seatbelt because, again, you've got a 4-inch. And McNeel looks a little bit tall and skinny. So let's give him the benefit of that. 4 inches of material by 2 inches of material, you can't see it. You can't see it. So you notice how Tatum does this right now? Tatum, well, it was a lawful stop. Oh, Brandon, it wasn't raining. Well, he also wasn't wearing a seatbelt. He's about to fucking out himself that he's lying about the traffic stop being initial. The only acceptable, probable cause would have been a moving or equipment violation. And if it was headlights required in conditions requiring headlights, then it could be a moving violation and an equipment violation, right? So moving violation is more serious. Hey, people can't see you driving down the road. It's dangerous. Turn on your headlights. Clearly, we saw that everybody could see the cars on the road. Or you need the headlights to illuminate the road. Great. You don't have them on, I have to stop you. This was a moving violation incident where there was no moving violation. But Brandon Tatum just go ahead and trips over his own fucking tongue here because he's wrong.
Arguing with Brandon Tatum saying, Brandon, it wasn't raining at the time of the stop. Well, he also didn't have a seatbelt on. He also was driving on a suspended driver's license. I mean,
they didn't know that until after the stop. And if they didn't stop him, it wouldn't have been said. Now, what is this? I didn't pull his record. I don't know what he was suspended for. Was it for an emissions test? Was it insurance? Was it 3 strikes moving or 3 convictions on moving violations? We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. What was his driver's license suspended for? Yeah, if he does not have insurance, he's going to get suspended. Right? Insurance, the greatest scam in the history of driving. If he didn't pass his emissions test, his vehicle and his car is going to be suspended. So none of that was an indication for why he was stopped in the first place. It's all after the fact. But let me see. The next thing Brandon's going to talk about the knife and the weed. I'm sure that's going to be next.
The cop was willing to just give him a warning. We don't know what would have happened, but he acted a plumb fool. And then now he's in this position that he's in, and he pled guilty to it. He didn't try to fight it. Now, you could plead guilty to something and be innocent of something if you feel like you don't have a fighting chance. I don't recommend that to be the case. But if you feel like you don't have a fight.
I hate this fucking clown. I hate this fucking clown because this is what he does. He pled guilty, and then 2 minutes later, he says, well, you can do it. I don't recommend it. This is why, Brandon, you're a fucking disingenuous scumbag. You still have Officer Brandon Tatum in front of your shit. Take it off. Take it off. You're a political pawn that is used by conservatives to just shit all over the black community, which does have their fucking problems. But this is what you do. You're a fucking clown, and this is why you will not debate me or anyone else because you'll get your ass handed to you.
Fighting chance, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're guilty. But in his case, everything he did represented guilt, and then he went and pled guilty. So to me, 2 and 2 is 4. And
he pled guilty because you just said most people plead guilty. You don't recommend they do it. He still could be innocent. This is another video, like I did the last one, of why I'm doing this for you guys, and I'm going to lose brain cells in the fucking process. He literally just said there are people who are innocent who plead guilty. But then he just says, well, he's guilty. Which is it, Brandon? Which is it? You are a better tap dancer than fucking Sammy Davis Jr. It's amazing.
I like the fact that the officers were deemed to have done nothing wrong because they didn't do anything wrong. You can do, and I said this because...
Well, the officers did a lot wrong. They illegally stopped him, and then they beat the shit out of him on a traffic stop. Qualified immunity, which really needs to be looked into, is a massive issue here.
Because I'm a former cop, and I know what we can get away with and what we can do and what's legal and not legal. If you want to do a diversionary strike on somebody, which is a palm strike, which is what I wrote in my article that I wrote about this, you as a police officer can do that if you believe it can distract the person enough where you can extract them from a car or distract them enough where they cannot pull a gun on you. We call it throwing off a person's OODA loop On the SWAT team, you rush into a building, you throw a flashbang, they get disoriented, and you throw off their OODA loop because they have
flashbang in a fucking SWAT circumstance versus a kid who was asking for a supervisor on a traffic stop because he believed and he was right that he didn't break any laws whatsoever. And no, you ever notice, anybody ever notice how these cops love to throw strikes and diversionary tactics against people that they know they can? You've seen the videos of the 5 cops against the Navy SEAL. That motherfucker could have torn all of them apart, but what do? They beg and they plead. No, it's okay, it's okay. Or the one giant on a traffic stop that sits there and they're just like, oh, it's calm down, calm down. Why aren't they throwing strikes to throw off somebody's OODA loop when these motherfuckers can kick those guys' asses? Well, we know why, because cops are pussies. It's as simple as that.
Have a plan of action until you divert their plan of action. That means that when he in the car thinking about grabbing a gun, thinking about fighting, and you hit him you stun him a little bit. Now he got to think of something else because it ain't got real fast. And so there was a acquittal, for lack of better terms, of the police officers, like I said there would be. Now I think we have
acquittal. Were they charged? So again, get your terminology right. Were they charged with crimes? Because that would be an acquittal. So I don't know what they were acquitted on if they weren't charged, Brandon, but I guess they were being sought charges after, right?
A clip. Is this a news clip of the new findings? Okay. Roll the clip.
This morning, a Jacksonville, Florida sheriff's deputy seen striking this driver in the face during an arrest will not face criminal charges.
Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle.
William McNeel Jr. was pulled over in February for not.
I want to know why that's funny. I legitimately do. See, unlike you, Brandon, I have a history of training with violence and actually doing the job. And I worked in a neighborhood that actually had some violent fucking problems. And you know what was really the last thing that we ever did was laugh after we kicked the shit out of someone lawfully. All the times that we made them eat fucking pavement or cracked them or cranked up those handcuffs tight as shit and knees on the side as we just drove it right into them as we're pounding on people to put them in fucking handcuffs. The last thing that I did was laugh about it or celebrate it because I'm not a sadist and I know that I would always win. Now, number one, yeah, I am a fucking badass. I am. And it is what it is. I've been training that way since I was 13 years old and I am a tough motherfucker. But number two, I had an army of people that if I wound up screaming into the mic, they would come and bail me out if I ever needed it, right? That's how it went. That's how all Blue Line warriors are. So it was a fucking 100% guarantee I would win on scene all the time. All the time. God forbid anybody ever got the drop on me and my brothers and sisters in blue showed up. That motherfucker would look like an aerated lawn or a big old brick of Swiss cheese after they got done. And I'd be in heaven celebrating I was redeemed and my vengeance was theirs on earth, right? But when you realize the weight of how cops are always going to win until citizens kind of have enough of this shit, there's no humor. There's no fucking humor seeing anybody getting beaten by the police. It's a sadistic fucking thing. And the bootlickers out there who love it, the pro-police crowd, the fuck around, find out crowd, the play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I honestly have a deep, deep sadistic dream that anybody who laughs at a guy being abused by the police, I hope it happens to your fucking most dearest person. I literally, I hope your wife on a traffic stop runs into a cop and while she begs and pleads, they beat and abuse the shit out of her while she's screaming, I'm Brandon Tatum's wife. Because that's the only way you will ever step up to the plate and realize we have a very serious problem in law enforcement. The fact that you're laughing over this man being punched in the face by a cop says a massive amount of your character and your lack of integrity. This is disgusting that we laugh over citizens being abused at the hands of law enforcement. Not once did I celebrate it when I did it lawfully, and never will I support it ever while I review and try to support law enforcement to the best of my ability.
Will not face criminal charges.
Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle.
William McNeel Jr. was pulled over in February for not having his lights on in bad weather and not wearing a seatbelt.
What is your reason, sir? What is your reason?
Deputies are seen getting aggressive with him after he questioned why he was being pulled over, denying there was bad weather and refusing to exit his vehicle. They claimed he was...
I like how Brandon points and nods when the newscaster says what he was pulled over for, and we can all see... I don't see an ounce of fucking bad visibility or bad weather. Maybe the asteroid needs to hit and the reset button on the world needs to be committed because we're all fucking dumb. It's like, hey, Brandon Tatum could be drowning and somebody's yelling, water's not wet, and water's wet, and he's going, no, it's not. No, it's not. I'm having a difficult time breathing because of the lack of oxygen. It's not wet. That's how we will die on any hill to ever admit fault when it comes to law enforcement. And what is that? It's pride. It's pride. Brandon Tatum loves to talk about Christ as king, and I am a Christ follower. And I'll point this out. He's got what Jesus is Lord on his forearm. Brandon, I have to point this out to you, guy, because I don't think you realize this. Pride is the biggest fucking sin in the world. You talk about on your shit, the spiritual warfare and all this stuff. That's about as satanic as you can get. The fact you cannot admit that what these cops did was wrong is a pride issue. That is the paramount fucking allegiance of Satan worshiping, as far as I'm concerned. You're doing exactly what fucking Satan did. But you're a Christian, right? Let's keep going with that.
Reaching for a knife on the floor, which was not seen in the video.
Hold on. They did not claim that. They had made mention that he was in close proximity to the knife, but they didn't claim that he was reaching for the knife.
Brandon fucking told the truth. Good job.
They don't say it on the body-worn camera, and I don't believe that they said it in the case report. The chief didn't allude to that. They just alluded to that there was a knife in close proximity. Roll the clip.
Attorney's office now concluding it was a lawful traffic stop, saying Officer Bauer's use of a one-time open-handed strike to McNeel's face had a legitimate tactical purpose to get McNeel.
All right, so I want to cut you off before you get into this, because Brandon's going to be going, well, that's right. It's right. Right. Because cops are lawfully allowed to beat the shit out of people and justify why they do it. It's insane. There's nothing. I've said this a million fucking times. There is nothing you can't do as a police officer as long as you could justify it. I'm going to tell you flat out, that cop's intent was not to OODA loop him. That cop was pissed that a black guy was mouthy to him and refused to obey his commands. That cop wanted to punish him. That cop hit him out of frustration. But what we do is we take the totality of the circumstances in law enforcement, we rewrite all the evidence and the facts and say after the fact, well, the reason I did this was to break his OODA loop behavior and to change his state and use a tactical strike on this. You're full of shit. It's a lie. I wish to God some people would have the balls to fucking admit it. But they don't do it. So yeah, right now, because we let cops do whatever the fuck they want to do when it comes down to abusing citizens, of course there's going to be no state charge. They're covered.
Out of the SUV and to show his hands, which McNeel did after the strike, adding that Officer Bauer's second strike occurred during McNeel's arrest and was in response to McNeel's physical resistance to the arrest.
I was surprised.
Yeah, the uppercut and the 6 strikes afterwards were unlawful, absolutely unlawful. And they were a violation of his fucking Fourth Amendment as far as I'm concerned. Violation of his due process. They administered punishment before he was even sent to court. I don't want state charges, Brandon. I want federal charges. I want cops to go to federal prison. So if these state charges didn't go through, I'm fine with that. We know it's not going to happen. Cops are allowed to abuse, beat, and murder people lawfully. It is what it is. I want federal charges on these cops.
Here, I grew up being told that officers protect us, but that wasn't the case.
McNeel's lawyers now want the Justice Department to investigate, claiming the state attorney never interviewed him and overlooked the violence after he was taken into custody. They say he suffered a concussion, a chipped tooth, and needed 9 stitches. The deputy's actions are still part of an administrative review to determine if they violated policy. As for McNeel, he pleaded guilty to resisting arrest and having a suspended license.
Shut the fuck up, Brandon. You're a fucking clown.
Oh, but they don't tell you he had drugs on him, too. They don't want to say that. They don't want to say he had drugs on him. Yeah.
It's weed. It's weed. Legal in a shit ton of states, and I don't give a fuck. As long as it's not in his system while he's driving. Did they test him for DUI? Did they write him for that? He had it on his person? Brandon, it's a ridiculous. Oh, yeah, somebody had a 6-pack of beer in the car. They're on the way home. I'm so tired of this shit, too.
That's the disingenuous nature of the new. Like that's why I exist, because I can get on here and I'm gonna look up the stuff and I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened. The news didn't mention nothing about him having drugs, and it bothers me. And I told you guys, and that's why y'all follow me and y'all love me, is because I told you, and other people that criticize me, they don't know what they're talking about.
Brandon, I know what I'm talking about more than you do. Far more than I've forgotten more about law enforcement than you'll ever fucking know.
When you never put on a badge honorably, because there's people that put on a badge and they disagree with me because I don't know what police department they work for, but I know what I'm talking about. I used to.
Do you see how his fucking statements trail off? He never finishes a complete thought. What the fuck was that? People put the badge on honorably because there's some people who disagree with me that I don't even know what police department they work for. What does that mean? What does that mean? I worked for Round Lake Beach, Round Lake Park, and I did a stint with Round Lake Heights, all in the Round Lake area from 2001 till 2019. Those are my departments. Now, I don't know if you're specifically talking about me. Are you saying I dishonorably wore the badge? Because that would allude then that I violated civil rights, I broke the law, I was corrupt. You need to put a caveat into that. What does this mean? Brandon Tatum never finishes a fucking thought.
Do this for a living, man. And I didn't used to do this for a living in Scottsdale. And I'm nothing against my Scottsdale PD. It's just not heavy like Tucson. My first day on the job in FTO, my first FTO day on the job was a homicide. A guy got shot right in the face, and I was watching him die in the middle of the doorway. My first day.
That's okay. My first day on the job, we had a 10-person brawl. I passed out. I wrote it in my book because of heat exhaustion. I watched Mikey Davis die as he was gasping his last breath with a bullet hole in his chest, gang-related hit that we think had something to do with the chief Latin king up in our town. Brandon, we've all have these stories. All have these stories. Big deal. You showed up to watch someone die. How is that? That makes you special. How? I've seen people die from car accidents, stabbings, dead infants, done CPR. People have died in front of me. Yay! Let's all exchange the horror stories, Brandon. It still changes nothing about the fact that you have to talk about the totality of circumstances on shit that is relevant. Your history of law enforcement, watch people die means nothing.
On the job before that call was potentially could have been a high-speed pursuit, but the guy ended up stopping. But
okay, Brandon, I was in several high-speed pursuits. They all suck. I hate every one of them. Worst adrenaline dump shit you get to, and you're worried about killing other people as you're driving Mach fucking 10, getting somewhere. Yeah, what else do you want to know, Brandon? Let's trade stories about what you've done and what other cops across America have done. You're so special, right? It's not. It is. It's a character trait to show you can admit you were wrong on something. But you are dying on this hill of being right, which you're not. Just to sit there and avoid, Brandon Tatum has to fucking eat the shit sandwich on his own channel.
He tried to leave at first. So, that first day on the job, bruh. One of my friends on the SWAT team, he had to take a man's life the first day on the job. His first day on FTO. A guy took his FTO hostage. He reached across the car and shot the guy in the head. Boom. He was meant for SWAT ever since then. Talking about a guy with poise like that as a rookie When you get out of
What does any of this have to do with the traffic stop, Brandon? It still doesn't change facts and evidence. What you're doing is you're grandstanding whatever you think. You're appealing to the people who have no idea what law enforcement truly is like, because 90% of the cops in the world, they're never going to see the shit that I saw. There's not going to. I don't see half the shit that a fucking town like Chicago saw, because all they do is go to dead body, shootings, stabbings, fill out fucking paperwork. Nothing ever gets done. But those things, the shit element from like Chicago, Milwaukee, they moved to the town I worked at. So we get it. And then we also did other police work. I don't understand what you're talking about in this. You want to hype up Brandon Tatum. It doesn't change the facts or the evidence of the case. Your resume has nothing to do with what we all can see right in front of us from several different vantage points of body camera footage and cell phone footage. Brandon, just say you're wrong, my man. You might get a little bit of integrity back.
Training and you get into FTO, you don't know what's going on no more. Anybody can say what they want in the training facility until you get on the street and you got to wear a badge and you really responsible for people's lives. I remember my first arrest. 2 natives, drunk as a skunk, fighting each other up under some bushes. You know how crazy that was? They were so drunk they couldn't stand up and fight. So they were laying on their side fighting each other like this. And they were half up under some bushes. I was like, what is happening here? That was my first arrest. I know what I'm talking about, bro. I done did every call that known to man, except I've never participated in a shooting. Thank God I don't have to have that on my conscience. But I put my guns on multiple people. I could have shot.
Same. Had my finger on the trigger once. I don't understand what all this has to do with anything, Brandon, with the facts and the evidence of a traffic stop. I don't get this.
2 people and been justified. Thank God that God helped me to process the situation a lot cleaner, and that the person actually wasn't the threat that we thought that they were. Or that.
What? I'm telling you, this is why this man can't fucking hear himself talk. Listen to this for a second. What he just said about a shooting.
I have that on my conscience. But I put my guns on multiple people. I could have shot 2 people and been justified. Thank God that God helped me to process the situation a lot cleaner, and that the person actually wasn't the threat that we thought that they were. Or
I don't know. How anyone can take this clown seriously blows me away, because here he's admitting that with his extensive resume of super cop, that he almost shot 2 people on 2 separate occurrences, would have been justified had it not have been for the intervention of God, clearing his ability to properly discern and navigate the scene properly, right? Ultimately speaking, that the subject wasn't a threat that they perceived him to be. You mean if those cops who were on this traffic stop with McNeel took your advice, they could have seen the same thing and seen it was just a guy who had no clue why he was pulled over, hears about blacks being killed by cops all across the country with how the media sensationalizes shit. So he kept himself in his car, asked for a supervisor like everybody on YouTube does now. And the cops, instead of smashing a window, maybe they could have prayed to God on scene to ask for a little bit more clarification, so they could have seen, oh, he's got weed. He's got a suspended license. He's got a knife on the floorboard. Maybe it wasn't as serious as they claimed it to be. And if one cop had just looked over and said, hey, what did you pull him over for? No headlights. Dude, let him go. So when it comes to a shooting that we all need to bow down to Super Cop Tatum, he had the divine wisdom to say it wasn't that serious, so I'm glad I didn't shoot him. But when it comes to 5 fucking cops beating the shit out of a guy for not driving with his headlights on, you're all good with that because that motherfucker had it coming. This is why, Brandon, you are an incredibly stupid man.
that they could have been. The guy running out of the house with the shard of glass in his hand with his throat cut like this with his fat hanging out his neck. He actually hit me. He actually punched me in the face a couple times with an open hand. It was
not
weird.
Enough times.
Open handed, which I was like, oh, I'm finna get busy with you, boy. And but he didn't have a shard of glass in his hand.
Fitting to get busy. Got to bring that black culture into law enforcement. Brandon, knock it off, man. Stop using the same type of shit that you condemn your own community for.
He had cut his throat and then threw the glass down and then fought me at the front door. Well, he lost that one, but he tried to fight me at the front door. And then the other lady who put...
How do we know? Where's the body camera, Brandon? Well, if you're going to keep... You all have to suffer with me. Let's listen to him brag about the rest of his resume that proves he's a god when it comes down to analysis of police interactions. And you should be listening to him and thanking him for his work because you don't know what you're talking about.
The knife on me at an apartment complex. I mean, I just saw it in her eyes, man. When she came out the house.
I had a guy who stuck a knife in his face, Brandon. I didn't shoot him. I bounced his head off the counter. I was given an award for it. So now what else? We're going to go back and forth. I was on Illinois' version of SWAT. It's called NIPUS, Northern Illinois Police Alarm System. I was on Mobile Field Force. I was not on EST. It was riot control, curbside arrest, crowd control, officer down scenarios. I was on that for 2 years. So, I mean, we can go. We can keep going resume for resume.
I saw it in her eyes that she was like, she didn't want me to shoot her. And I didn't want to shoot her. I could have shot her, but thank God I didn't. So she's still alive. Took her to the crisis.
How the hell is this man have anybody taking him seriously? You have all the lawful justification to shoot a woman, but her eyes told you. Her eyes told you. She gave you the puppy dog eyes of sympathy, and there was a simpatico moment where the two of you connected, where all of space and time was suspended, and you were dancing on a beach together in flowing white robes, celebrating your connection of the universe and love together. So you decided in that nanosecond of a heartbeat moment not to shoot her. But these guys were fucking right about smashing through a window, not giving a man a moment's notice of communication, punching him, and then beating the shit out of him because he had weed, because his driver's license was suspended, because it was raining, and I'm Brandon Tatum, and I'm fitting to tell you all right, yeah? Holy shit, you're a clown.
Response center. She got the help she needed. She's still alive. I'm still alive. It's all good. But stop believing people online who are emotional. You need to come to be Tatum. Let me give you a perspective. Even if you don't agree with me, listen to what I have to say, because I was 100% correct on a lot of things. You can go back and look at my previous video that I made on this. I was 100% correct.
You were 100% wrong and point by point, and I absolutely destroyed your ass on my debunking your attempt to debunk Lackluster. I lit your ass up and fucking shredded every one of your arguments. And you'll never admit it. It's okay. If you did it to me, I'd go, damn, man, the guy, motherfucker, he lit me up. And I would sit there and I'd eat that shit sandwich. You got your lunch taken, and then I went back for dinner, and I took what was off your plate.
About to stop. I was 100% correct about the strike to the face. It wasn't a punch. People keep saying they got sucker punched. It was an open hand strike to the face. If you actually watch it, I knew that was correct. I wouldn't have done it because I don't feel like that my use of force in that situation would have been a lot more than his, because I probably would have knocked him unconscious if I'd have hit him in the face with a palm strike. And then the punch in the mouth. That's reasonable when you're fighting a guy and he's resisting and he's big enough he had 4 people trying to take him to the ground. And that's it, bro. He had every reason to pull you over.
I got called when I was with the Round Lake Beach Police Department. I got called to assist Round Lake Heights at their middle school by then Chief Johnson, who has passed away. And Johnson was the only one who was on patrol. And he called for an emergency unit to respond for an altercation at the middle school. I showed up. He's in the principal's office with an unruly 10-year-old. 10-year-old's ranting and raving and screaming and swinging and this and that. I was exhausted trying to restrain that little bastard. He needed to be restrained. I had to put him in handcuffs. And in Illinois, the lawful minimum age to put somebody into cuffs is 10 years old. I had to put him in cuffs. He was out of control. He was chaotic. He was 10 years old. Trying to put that kid who was fighting with everything he had into handcuffs was a fucking feat. So don't tell me that it takes fucking 5 guys to take somebody into cuffs simply because, that guy was out of control. It's the nature of it. It's the nature of it. The human body is a tough thing. And unless you truly know manipulative tactics, like if you're a wrestler like I was, if you're a martial arts expert like I was, and you know, in my case, I'm trying not to fucking hurt a 10-year-old. So it was very difficult to do. But for grown men who are going to resist, yeah, it's fucking hard to take somebody into cuffs by yourself. That's why you see pig piles all the time, because cops don't know what the fuck they're doing. And the less you know what you're doing tactically, the more force you're going to use. And you see all the time, strikes don't work all the time. They just don't. I've never used a strike on somebody because you see it. It's hard to knock someone out. You see it all the time in MMA. So when you're going to say, well, it took somebody 10, it took 5 guys to take somebody down, he's big enough. No, it's because cops don't know what they're doing. So they pigpile. And when they pigpile, it gets worse. And they hit and they abuse and they fucking beat the shit out of somebody. Once again, Brandon, you lie about the job. You keep lying about the job and make yourself seem like you know what you're talking about when you don't.
If you somehow can argue that the inclement weather wasn't a thing, you didn't have a seatbelt on. And you also was driving on.
But he couldn't see the seatbelt. So it's an illegal traffic stop. This is Brandon. Brandon just gave you room to acknowledge he's wrong. This is how he weasels his way out of shit. Listen.
People trying to take him to the ground. And that's it, bro. He had every reason to pull you over.
No.
If you somehow can argue that the inclement weather wasn't a thing, you didn't.
I argued, destroyed you, so did everybody else in the internet. Now, how does somebody pull somebody over for seatbelt violation if they don't see it?
Have a seatbelt on. And you also was driving on a suspended driver's license with drugs in the car.
He couldn't see the drugs through his pocket. He's not Superman, and he doesn't have a computer brain that is uploaded to leads to sit there and say, oh, I can identify this guy. I know he doesn't have a driver's license. Brandon, everything you're talking about for the citizen who doesn't know why people are pulled over in the first place, and you're placating to that crowd who's literally ignorant. You're a very, very, very disingenuous liar.
What are we talking about? Okay. I just want to throw that out there. Is that the only clip we have? Is this him talking on a? Yeah, I want to play this real quick because he was scared for his life. I want y'all to see what kind of man we dealing with. This is the disingenuous nature of some black people that bothers the living daylights out of me. Is that why won't you just take your licks? No pun intended. You pled guilty already. Just let it go. Why would you get on national television and subjugate yourself to exposure, to criticism, when you're 100,000% wrong? And then you're lying on behalf of your community for no reason, bro. You're making black people look bad. Because I have yet to see a white person get on TV after doing all of that stupid stuff and trying to cry and act like they're innocent people. I rarely have seen it. I don't think I've ever seen it. Somebody had to do it, but I ain't seen it.
Because the news media doesn't sensationalize it the same way. There's no political division if a white person does it, Brandon. Come on, you're in politics. You're smart. No, you're not smart enough. You understand how this game is worked, right? You know how it's played and how they do this. So a white person talking about it will never happen that way. So, but you continue your bullshit.
William, let's start with you. Walk us through what happened and what led you to turn your camera on and start filming on your phone.
Well, the officer put his hand on his gun and out for me if I close my door and start recording. I did what was best. Yeah, so
they said your head.
If he put his hand on his gun and you shut the door, if he have the intent to harm you, he can shoot you through the door and the window. Your door shutting did nothing to protect you if you somehow thought this man, who's a police officer in uniform, who pulled you over for a legitimate reason, you knowing that you have drugs.
I want to see Brandon Tatum talk to his fucking kids, right? I want to see him put fucking them to put him to bed tonight. I don't know if he has kids or whatever, but I want to see his daughter go, Daddy, there's monsters in my bedroom, and I pull the blanket up over my head so that the monsters can't see me and I can be safe. Listen, baby, those monsters, if they're in your room, the monsters, they're gonna tear through that motherfucking blanket. If they want to get you, they're gonna get you. It's called some semblance of security, Brandon. It's literally a human instinct to keep yourself with some kind of barrier between you and a threat. It's the naturalist of human reactions. You're an extremely unlikable human being.
And driving on suspended driver's license. If he wanted to hurt you, he gonna hurt you whether you had the door open or not. He just knocked the window out. Do you not catch that? Or he just shoot you through the door. Quit being silly. Roll the clip.
Lights were not on and should have been on in what they described as inclement weather. But there are those people who would say, hey, why not just cooperate when they're pulling you over? Why lock yourself inside the car and refuse to get out initially?
That's where I felt safe at. I wasn't going to get out the car because my head was during the daytime. And then you put your hand on your gun and reach out for me. I fear for my life. And I know how officers of JSO are towards black men here in Jacksonville.
Hold on. Maybe you know how black men are against JSO officers in Jacksonville. Maybe it's you the problem. You're the problem, young man. You would have never had to get out the car. If when he pulled you over and you presented your identification, you wouldn't have had to get out the car. You wouldn't have been under arrest. You didn't want to present it because you was driving suspended. But if you'd have just said, yes, sir, I got to suspend the driver's license. I got to take this hit. That's it. And then if you disagree with the way he stopped you, then you'll win in court, right? If you're right, you'll win in court.
Yeah, no, that's a bunch of bullshit, too. You're not going to win in court. I don't care how many fucking times people say this. Take it to court. You're not going to win. You just won't. And when it comes down to the perception of the threats by the black community, I'm not black. I can't speak to it. I'll never forget. It was right after Mike Brown. It was the week after Mike Brown was shot and killed. Was it 2014? I'll never forget the girl I pulled over on a traffic stop. She was speeding, doing 15 over. I stopped her, young black woman. But when I got up to the car, she had her hands almost touching the top of the car in the ceiling, and she was crying. She had hysterical tears just running down her face. And she goes, please don't shoot me. And it was ridiculous. It was fucking ridiculous to me. But I have no right to tell her what society is telling her. I have no right to tell her what her community perceives. And I have no fucking right to be inside of her skin and act like I know what she feels. I don't agree. It's stupid, but I get it. I get it. And it's a circular argument because black culture does act a certain way. Their behaviors, their criminal actions do warrant police action, and that police action does look like it's overwhelmingly focused on them. But that's the political game, of which, Brandon, you are directly involved in. You are part of the racial divide in America with your political commentary all the time. So you can't condemn him. What you fuel your side for?
Say, oh, it was daytime. The law doesn't represent what he said he put me over for. The judge would have a field day throwing that out if it was legitimate. He don't want to waste his time judging a situation that's completely pointless. So if you thought you were right, which you weren't, but if you thought you were right, that's the way you should have did it. Roll it.
I'll tell you flat out from personal experience, 99.9% of all fucking interactions with the judge, the police officer's word is always going to be taken. Always. Look at it this way, too. I'm not bringing him in for the concept of the argument, but if you look at somebody like Frank Sloop, if Frank Sloop is on the Brady list and it means he can't testify, how is he still able to write tickets? That's how fucked up this court system is, right? Judges believe cops. They do. It's a set bias. Look at what is it? Polk County. To my knowledge, they still don't have body cameras. You have Grady Judd every fucking day convicting people on his social media, tainting any possibility for them ever to get a fair trial by vilifying them, demonizing them, and it's lawful for him to do that? You think that somebody's going to win in court. Brandon, man, again, you are an absolutely vile human being.
What went through your mind at that moment when the deputy broke your window and punches you in the face as you sit in the car?
He didn't punch him.
I was surprised.
Hey, Brandon, let's get together. I teach martial arts, right? I'm going to blindfold you, and I'm going to hit you. And let's play open hand, closed hand. And you describe, was that a punch or was that an open palm strike? It's semantics, Brandon. He delivered body energy from his core into somebody else's face through the extension of his limb. It's semantics. I don't give a fuck what you call it. He struck him. That was 100% strike. And I'm going to tell you something. Palm strikes are more dangerous than punches. Most people don't know how to punch, so they don't have an alignment from their wrist to their radius and their ulna. When you palm strike, you eliminate the bones that may not be properly forced to strike, right? A little bit of bend like this, little bend like this, you're not going to get full strike power. But when you open your hand and you have the palm strike, which is directly aligned with your radius and ulna, it's more fucking effective than a closed fist. Do you know what you're talking about, Brandon? Because I sure as hell do, because I am an expert in that field.
I was scared, frightened. I grew up being told that officers protect us, but that wasn't the case.
Look like he high right now. On the interview, he high. I bet you he high. How much I want to bet that he smoked weed and got high before he went on that interview? I know weed smokers when I see them. I used to smoke weed all the time when I was a little kid. I stopped smoking when I was 8, and I cannot confirm it.
Oh, so you have a very sus background. So you were a criminal from the day you were born. You come from a very shitty culture, and you have a bias. And to be honest, I hope McNeel hears you say this, and I hope he fucking sues you. I really do. How do you know he's high? Why are you attacking his character? According to Brandon Tatum, 8-year-old drug addict. He could be rehabilitated, but according to Brandon Tatum, only he's worthy of God's grace. This is one thing, too, that I cannot stand about fucking self-proclaimed Christians, is they are so quick to demonize and vilify everybody else but themselves.
I smoked one time between 8 and now, and it wasn't in college, and it wasn't when I was a cop. So you can do the math. I tried it one time. Yeah. Come on, man. Can I be weird with y'all? I did. I had to ask for forgiveness. I was with a friend. She kind of convinced me to do it, and I hadn't smoked since I was 8. And I said,
she kind of convinced me to do it. Holy shit. This man avoids responsibility at every turn.
Yeah, man, let me see what it is. I'm grown now. It's legal. She put it in a pipe. Not like a crack pipe, so don't get crazy. She put it in a cigar pipe.
So you recently smoked weed. You're telling all of us you recently smoked weed when you're condemning this kid for smoking weed. You fucking hypocrite. How do you have Jesus is Lord tattooed on your forearm, but you're a hypocrite? Christ hated hypocrites.
And we smoked it, and it was like, it's not for me, man. And I never did it again. Now, I never told anybody that, because if I ever wanted to apply for a position with the federal government again, I was like, I can't be telling nobody I tried that stupid thing one time. I'd have to disclose on my resume that I smoked weed, and I didn't want to do that. But
you mean you'd have to be honest and tell the truth? So you avoided telling the truth on something just because you wanted to cover it up, your own crime? Wow.
Weed ain't for me, man. I'm an advocate for medical marijuana. I think medical marijuana is a far better solution than putting you on pharmaceutical drugs.
How do you know that McNeel's weed in his pocket wasn't pharmaceutical medication? Did they say that he had cannabis? He had weed in his pocket. That's it. Did you get the report? Did they say it was prescribed to him? That he got it from a local CBD or weed shop, and he had a card for it? Did you bother to do any research on that?
That get you on something that you have to get on something else to get off something else that you were on after you got on something else. So I'm a medical marijuana guy. If I thought marijuana would help me, I would. I did eat a brownie before, but that's not THC. It was just what do they call it? CBD. There you go. It was a CBD brownie. I mean, that wasn't a brownie. It was a gummy or something somebody gave me. So I ate that. So don't think I'm a degenerate, man. That's legal.
CBD is not THC. And this is a man who talks, you won't pop hot if you have CBD in your system. And this is a man who wants to talk about police tactics, and he doesn't even know what a controlled substance is and what isn't. Wow.
It's legal in America. Not in America, but just illegal in Arizona for sure. All right, enough of my degeneracy, because some of y'all done smoked crack before. Don't judge me. Y'all was smoking crack before the law.
Don't judge me, but I'm going to judge everybody else, because Brandon Tatum knows. I know who's high. I know. I gotta stop.
Or save your life.
I have to stop.
Don't even look at me. Meth, crack. You right there. I'm talking to you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You hit the meth pipe a few times. You know you did. Some of y'all did heroin before God saved your life. Okay, so we don't judge me. I'm just kidding, y'all.
That was it. Brandon Tatum once again was not right. Brandon Tatum.
So I'm a
once again, I'm done. I can't talk about this man anymore. I can't do more content. I fucking hate this clown. And the amount of people who believe him and can't see his double talk, his hypocrisy, his insertion of Jesus Christ in his content to leverage as if he's an elevated human being that you should listen to while he condemns and judges others. This man is a fucking horrible human being. And that's it. I'm done. Anybody sends me another Brandon Tatum shit to wind up critique, you better pay me. You better pay me. Because I can't suffer through this crap anymore. Holy crap. Brandon Tatum, he was right, y'all. I don't know on what fucking universe, but it is my deepest wish that everything that McNeel went through, that one of Tatum's closest relatives goes through, because that's the only way this fucking clown will ever learn how wrong he was.